Hi friends, today I am doing the review for this book, Rudraman, The Battle for Earth by Vishwas Mudugal. Uh, First, let us get into the story. This is the blurb. First the story starts like with a prologue in 10,000 BC, where there is like a burning spacecraft that comes down crashing in the Himalayas. This is all supposedly in the Ice Age. Um, so at that time, Rudra, who is like a person who is living in recluse in the Himalayas, he finds this spacecraft, or rather a Vimana, that came crashing. It has a lot of unknown machinery inside it, a lot of advanced technological uh, things, and then after it falls from the sky and it crash lands in one of the villages near Himalayas. So Lord Rudra, he actually goes into the place and he checks it, and there are also like two bodies, two it's not humans. So when Rudra looks at them, they don't seem like humans, but they seem to be like some sort of alien creatures who are like totally charred to death. When the spacecraft has crash landed, then he sort of thinks that something is wrong. From where did this sort of spacecraft come onto Earth? Um, that is where the prologue ends, and after that, after another 100 years, so it's in 9900 BC, what happens is there is this army of Asuras called the Asuraks, and they have a king called Tarak. So he, along his army, they have descended on Earth, and they have a lot of extremely different sort of war weapons and war tactics, and they have their own spacecrafts, and they have descended on Earth with an intention that Tarak wants to invade the entire Earth, and he wants to become the empire. He wants to build an empire here. He wants to become the king of the entire Earth, and he wants his army to go and kill anyone who is coming in the way, if they in his way or in the way of his army. So what they keep doing is they keep going to all the greatest empires, and they behead the king and all his army, all the men, and then whoever are the princesses, Tarak, he forcibly marries all these princesses. So now it's like most of the all the kingdoms have fallen. There is one which is the Sindhu Samrajya. What we can understand is like uh, probably around our current day India. So there is also a small map in the beginning of the book which tells you like where all the story is happening, and from where the characters move along. So you can refer to that. So there is this King Himanjaya, who is the ruler of Sindhu Samrajya, and he and his army are the ones who decide that they are not going to give a free way to the alien king, or the Asura king. Um, so while he prepares to sort of fight the alien king, his daughter, Princess Shakti, she she is a very special person. She is actually born with like 4 arms, instead of the 2 arms that any of the humans are born. So when she's born, everyone thinks that there is something wrong with her, and her parents actually hide it for the longest time, because they think that if any of their kingdoms, the general people, if they know that there is this princess born with extra arms, that would seem like she is evil, or that is a bad omen. But then Princess Shakti, they also believe that she is born as as Nanda Devi's, goddess Nanda Devi's blessing. She also learns all this, what the men warriors would learn, and she becomes a very mighty warrior herself. And she's also very good at all these administrative things or smart thinking, or in that way, Princess Shakti is like, almost like her father even thinks that maybe instead of her brothers, Princess Shakti could be like the best choice as his successor. So like when this discussion is like happening on this alien king invading, and he being a threat to even the Sindhu Samrajya, Narada Muni, he comes over and he sort of suggests to Princess Shakti that there is this person called Lord Rudra who lives in Himalayas. He's like people can't reach him easily. He stays on Mount Rudra Parbat, and maybe he's the only person who can help them kill all these aliens. So somehow Princess Shakti is also convinced, and she always heard of stories about Lord Rudra. So she, along with her team, all women team, she actually goes to in search of Lord Rudra. And then later on, both of them know that there is something like a powerful thing, Amrita, on the earth, which can actually help them win this war against the aliens. But then it can also like push things upside down. So the whole story is about will Shakti be able to reach Mount Rudra Parbat where Lord Rudra is there. And Lord Rudra is like lives in a very like ascetic. He actually lost his wife Aparna 4 years. I mean, at the beginning of the story, it's told that he lost his wife, and from then he has been living in his own world of grief. So will he like be convinced? Will Princess Shakti will even be able to reach him? Will she be able to convince him? And will they be able to stop this alien king from invading the last standing kingdom, that is the Sindhu Samrajya? Or will the alien king just wipe away entire humanity on earth? That is what this story is about. As you can see, this is Lord Rudra. Okay, so now coming into the review, I think it was a detailed story explanation. As you can understand from the story in a high level, and with the names of the characters, it's almost like a mythological retelling. Even the story is like set mostly in like the in maybe not exactly the India of today, but probably how India would have been in 10,000 BC or in 9,900 BC. But the also interesting fact is, along with mythology, or the names of the characters which we may have read in some of our mythological texts, author actually mixes it with a lot of new technology, like all these aliens and the monsters and beasts, and the sort of spacecrafts that they are using, the sort of weapons they are using, they all seem like very much today's, or maybe even much further, like probably 100 years from now, maybe we may have that sort of extremely um, extraordinary weapons, and sort of war tactics, or the sort of technology we probably may have seen in some of these science fiction movies. So it just when the book starts, it actually feels like science fiction movie, but also it has all these characters from mythology. So that's like a very interesting aspect. That's how even the story also starts, and not just with India, but across Egypt and Mesopotamia, and that's how the author builds all these different kingdoms. So what I liked, of course, it's Lord Rudra's character, and it's not just about he having some supernatural powers or he being like the superhero, but it's also the other side of his emotions, and the grief that he's carrying inside him, and he being a recluse, and he is not just the superhero who's ready to jump into any sort of scenario and protect people or save people. Even in the beginning of the story, he actually tells people, who are with him, he tells them that, it's not our thing to go and save earth, or all these kingdoms. It is up to the human beings to, whoever are the kings, or the armies, they have to fight for themselves, they have to save themselves. And if at all they ask for my help, then let us see. That is how he thinks about it. Like, he has all this telepathy powers that he sort of gets over a period of time. Okay, so that part is like very interesting, the whole world that the author created, uh, just the ancient Indian civilization and very modern technology for all this warfare. That is like very interesting thought process. And Rudra's character is very interesting. And even the fights, all the action sequences that happen, I specifically felt it's not just some mindless action just for the sake of it, or just some war. And it's not like that. There is always author tries to give a reasoning of why exactly the characters are doing it, what exactly are they fighting for, what is their reason, what is their end goal. That is all very good. Now coming to the points which are like could have been better, or maybe I expected more, is about Shakti's character. Shakti's character starts as like this, great warrior herself, blessed with like, different sort of thing, having two extra arms, and her being more wise and smarter than her brothers, who are like, supposed successors for her father. But then after a point, it just feels like she's only trying to search for Rudra, trying to look at like, this whole thing as it's my destiny, it's my fate, that I have to find a person who will like, help stop the alien king. It somehow comes to that, which was a little disappointing for me personally. Maybe if Shakti was herself portrayed as like, the warrior that she is, if at all the author gave more importance to that, that would have been better. Also the beginning is like very good, but there are some sequences in between where the pacing is a little slow, and you're just we are in the search for this Amrita, and that parts felt like little slow. Also there are like places where the author leaves things, because definitely understand this is like, maybe there will be more books around this universe. Even at the beginning the author said there were like other books of his. Unfortunately I didn't read, this is the first book of the author that I'm reading, so I don't know about the rest of the universe that he may have already created. But there are some pieces that are left, so that they come together in his other books. So some parts of this book are like, may feel incomplete. That said, I think when I picked it up, like just looking at the picture or the title of the book, or the blurb, I wasn't sure like how far the author will execute a mythological retelling. But when I started reading, it just felt like it just exceeded my expectations initially. Maybe there were some slow parts and all, but I definitely enjoyed reading it, because mythological retelling is a very risky genre, and not everyone can get it right. Sometimes it just feels like authors are just spinning their own stories and their own imagination, just to make the story something new and all, or refreshing. But here the author has done a really wonderful job there. So if you are someone who likes reading some fresh perspectives, or just mythological retelling, retaining the same heroes and characters that but then giving them a fresh spin, then I would say pick this up. And I'm definitely looking forward to reading more books from the author, because I really like the writing style, and the world building, how this whole thing has been imagined by the author. And you can actually sort of keep visualizing all these action sequences, or the empires, the ice age, how life would have been at that time. how kings and kingdoms flourished at that time. So if you are also one of those who likes these sort of stories, I would say definitely pick it. Yeah, there are a bit of a slow parts, but I think still a reader will definitely enjoy it. Yeah, thank you.